Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 375 for July 15th, 2020. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host for this week's adventure into advanced tech mobility and sustainable energy. And look at this amazing panel surrounding me. At least it's surrounding me on my screen. And I feel so much more secure knowing these people are here with me for you. Let's introduce them and get this show on the road because we've got a ton of ground to cover this week. My friend who definitely has the best venue of this week's show, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello, and welcome to our ride into the future of transportation.
Thank you so much. Our friend in the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Casey Green.
Hey everyone, found my microphone.
Oh,
But I didn't find the interface. So maybe next week.
One step at a time, one step at a time. Our man in the Great White North, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. We've got a bunch of interesting topics to get to today.
No, it's wonderful. And my friend, my northern she's my northern to my southern. It just took me a second. I'm kind of
I am your North Star to your bottom of the Antarctic.
Oh.
So there you go.
Georgia McKenzie, hi.
Hey.
Hey. And last and not least, normally I introduce him first. But this week, since I'm totally kind of rattled because I just recorded a brand new show like 20 minutes ago, I finished. My co-host, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey everybody, welcome to our very first Zoom show. We're now recording in Zoom, so hopefully the quality and the layout is going to be a little better for everyone. It's a little disheartening when you sign in and you get a pop-up that says all your meetings belong to us. So tonight I'm drinking a Gunner's Daughter Milk Stout from Mast Landing Brewing, which is in Westbrook, Maine, and it's pretty darn good.
Wow.
There you go.
Nicely done, Mr. Schaefer. Nicely done. Well, let's get this thing going because, like I said, we've got a ton of stuff to cover. Mark Coughlin has the first story of the night about a brand new Nissan that was just announced yesterday, day before, in the last 48 hours.
Yeah, in the last 48 hours. Nissan has released the Ariya? I believe it's pronounced Ariya.
I believe so.
And
Ariya,
it is a SUV that has a couple of different battery pack sizes. They say that it's going to start at $40,000, and this vehicle is a 5-door hatchback, and it is going to, at the upper end, the larger battery pack, have a 300-mile range. And yes, before anybody asks, this Nissan actually has thermal cooling. It actually has liquid flowing through and around the battery to keep it cool, so you don't have to go to a car wash so you can charge up your car. Yes, indeed. Nissan apparently has learned their lesson and now has a vehicle with thermal cooling. Congratulations, Nissan.
yeah, how many times did we complain about that on the show?
That has been the #1 complaint against Nissan electric vehicles from the beginning. And it's been a long road. Since 2012, it's been a long road.
2010,
so, what's that?
December of 2010 is when the 2011 model came out.
Okay.
Yep.
It wasn't released in Canada until 2012. My corner of the world, it was 2012. Yes.
It's like they went in steps. They did the Leaf, both gens, completely air cooled, no fan, no vents, no nothing. But the ENV 200, they got a server fan, one, and now they've gone full liquid cooling.
It's quite a step up from a single server fan, I would say. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's great. Now, the other huge news is that Nissan is not going with the CHADeMo charger. They're switching over to CCS in this
Take
particular.
my story, Mark. Take my story.
So it's Casey, I could not mention that. That's like the #1 and 2 punch of this whole thing. it's incredible that this vehicle is now switching over to CCS as well. But what did you think of that, Casey? Like is that the right way to go?
CHADeMo outside of Japan is now dead.
Yeah,
Because so they're going to use CCS in the U.S., North America, South America, Europe, everything. But in Japan, they will have 2 fuel doors on what we would call the driver's side. They have the CHADeMo, and on the existing side, they'll have the level 2.
that's interesting. So North America will be the one that does not have CHADeMo, but they're going to have it in Japan. They're still going to have the CHADeMo option.
Yeah, and we'll only have 1 fuel door because they can get the level 2 and DC fast charge out of the same socket.
Right.
Although it would have been cool if they'd done a Porsche and put 2 charging sockets.
But that's money.
That is mad money. I think the base like 30 amp connector is like $500-$600.
So a $40,000 starting price. The vehicle is going to come with 2 battery choices. Of course, the $40,000 is for the lower battery choice. And we will have to see 2021 when they're expected to arrive, late 2021 in North America. Obviously, they're going to be released in Japan first. So we will see as they get a little closer to those dates. Hopefully, there's no delays because it looks like an excellent option. And we welcome an all-electric SUV into the market. That's what the market's demanding, so it should sell well.
Right, and it's a connected car too. So that opens up a lot of potential for doing over-the-air updates and other cool features.
Yeah, they've got wireless CarPlay, a bunch of other really cool stuff. So it's not like it's actually like they're trying, which is important because
Android Auto,
Mhm.
CarPlay, and Alexa integration as well.
Yeah, it's huge. Like Casey just said, at least they're trying, because it's been like the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, basically since the Gen 2 Leaf, which was just an evolution. It wasn't even much of an improvement. It was like, okay, Nissan, what the hell are you doing? So it's good to see them come out with something new.
Yeah, I don't know that that's entirely fair, Tony. The Gen 2 Leaf was definitely an improvement. What they didn't improve was the thing that we complained about, which was the battery system.
Right.
Otherwise, there was a lot of improvements in the Gen 2 Leaf. It was a cool car.
Yeah. I just pulled up some Alibaba pricing. A CCS charging inlet for Europe is $101. So they've come down in price, but they're still pricey if you were going to put 2 on the car.
I think the real question the Ariya poses for electric vehicle fans is there any future for the Leaf after this comes out?
Dunzo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is at a much higher price point.
It is.
It's true.
It starts at 40,000, where the Leaf starts more at 25, depending on.
One of the articles I read said that as this comes out, the outside of Japan Leafs will switch to CCS for the new one.
Oh, that makes sense.
Further
what we
death knell
really-
to CHADeMo.
What we really need now is a CCS to CHADeMo adapter, and then you can just get rid of all of the CHADeMo charging stations and replace them with CCS. And then all of the cars, whether they're CHADeMo or CCS, will be able to use them.
Yeah. And then if they could move the pins over on the European Tesla adapter, then every new car in North America could charge on CCS.
Yeah. Now, in this, in an Inside EVs article talking about the Nissan dropping CHADeMo for CCS, it does mention that CHADeMo, the CHADeMo Corporation, CHADeMo Association, correctly, just released CHADeMo 3.0, or what they call, was it Choji, or I don't know, CHAOJI, whatever, CHADeMo 3.0. So, I mean, they recently released an updated CHADeMo. Are they just grasping at straws here?
Well, I mean, most of the chargers are limited to 50 kilowatts. So even if they put a better inlet on the car, then you have to go and replace all of the CHADeMo connections. And what we're seeing with Electrify America and others is they would rather just put in a CCS.
Yeah. Well, our next story goes to Casey And it's about Nissan switching to CCS. Not to steal your thunder, Casey, but
No, I already did. I'm sorry, Casey. I
your thunder
apologize.
was stolen. Is there anything you want to add to that?
This is going to be great for the spread of the ability to take long trips in an EV that don't have that Tesla T on the front, because now that there's a standard for everything that's being sold in the North and South America and Europe, you only have 2 different inlets to worry about. Their pins are just slightly different, and it will make it so that you can get your economies of scale and not have to worry about, oh, we got to make sure that that the Japanese cars can charge, and then, oh, we got to make sure that Nissan and Mitsubishi can. Now you just need CCS.
Yeah, fewer is better, because you don't want this to be complicated. You don't want to have, if you only had certain cars that had to go to special gas stations, it would be a big pain. So anything that makes this easier, that's going to help the wide adoption, is what we needed.
Yeah. And since you've got a lot of them are now agreeing to accept each other's apps, now they all have the same connection. This is what we need to complete the goal of cleaner transportation going forward.
You guys are so lucky Apple isn't involved in the car market, or else you've got 27 different charging connectors, and they'd have to do their own damn thing.
Got the Lightning Plus.
It sounds like
Wait.
Tesla. Oh,
Did you say Apple or Tesla?
Well, don't forget that Tesla wanted to use a standard, but they would have gone bankrupt if they had waited for the industry to decide what to do with their charging inlets, and so they had to get to market. What should have happened was the market should have settled around the completely competent connector that they had, but that didn't happen.
the market doesn't do that.
But fortunately, once
It
the
was
standard
free.
was established,
Someday let's talk about proprietary lens mountings on cameras and how long that's existed. Okay.
That's true.
Let's talk about F mounts and then
Yeah.
Canon mounts.
Yeah. Let's just talk about how the market doesn't dictate standards very well.
Well, the good thing is that the like I said, in Europe they've already got the Tesla adapter for their legacy cars, and in the Model 3 and Model Y come directly with a CCS port on board. That's all they take, and their existing system actually is pin compatible with both CCS and J1772. So they can give us an adapter as well. Just gotta move those pins a few millimeters so that they fit an American plug instead of a European plug.
Right, because Tesla is part of the CCS coalition or association or whatever they are. Yep, they're
And
paying
CHADeMo.
dues member. Yep.
Yeah.
and if those changes are being made to fit the U.S. standard, you're not moving them millimeters. You're moving them 64/7 inch. All right, let's
Yeah.
get this straight.
Well, it is the SAE, so they do actually use metric now.
No, this is America. Damn it.
So they're going to go from type 2 to type 1 on the top of the plug, and then the bottom pins already line up. So.
Tony, I'd like you to look at the bottom of your beer and see the measurement on that beer. No, the side. Yeah. How many
Yeah.
how many milliliters are on that can?
Let's see. This isn't done in gallons, you bastard.
Well,
Fractions
we
of a
actually,
gallon.
we actually re-benchmarked our English imperial U.S. measurement system against the metric system now. So the
It
foot
does-
is
it-
defined
well-
in meters.
It is a pint. Is a pint
Creeping
what's it-
fascism.
Yeah.
and
Wait, yeah.
and pints are now defined in liters.
All right,
this
enough
joke
with the
went south
measurement
Yeah.
weekly.
Yeah.
It was a joke, I promise.
No,
Hey,
no,
so-
no more
Interesting.
metric wanking.
If Nissan came out with the Ariya, does that mean their next car is going to be the Sansa?
Oh.
Yeah. I
Wow.
would
I
have
thought
gone with
you-
an opera joke.
I was just going to say, I thought for sure he was going to go for the opera joke. Thank you.
The opera joke was a lot clearer.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the exterior of this car does look a lot better than their first attempt.
I like the Ariya, but I have questions about the interior, especially for the passenger, since they took out the console. They say it makes it feel spacious, yet I noticed in 133 photos, I don't get a photograph of the entire interior with the seats up. I see the seats
The seats
down.
down or the
I
driver's
see
side.
lots of through. I see lots of close-up detail, but that means that they're too afraid to put the seats up and actually let you see what the interior is like. Or
That means the
plus
glove box
passengers.
door fell off on the way to the photo shoot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. You know, No. They did that clutch engineering where they basically just took it off. They had to carry some lumber in the back of it just before the shoot. And they just took that out.
Nobody could find it, or somebody scuffed it on the way in. Oh, they won't notice.
It's held together by duct tape and wishes. But
It's a prototype.
no, I have that. I always notice what people choose to leave out, especially when they make a keynote on the features missing. And I was like, you took out the console, but you say there's a feeling of space, and then you can't show me the interior to let me see what the space looks like. So those of you with families for whom this looks like a really interesting car you might want to go for, definitely go see it on the lot.
Yeah, they say it's going to be slightly smaller than the Model Y, but it's definitely going to be a crossover, so you get a little bit more room than some of the other Nissan. Slightly.
Any ideas why it would have two shark fin antennas?
That's a good question. Also, why is it front-wheel drive?
Why not?
They got a big old battery. There's nothing stopping them from making it rear-wheel drive.
But
Because almost everybody else's one-wheel drive EV is rear-wheel drive.
are you saying there's a...
It's not going to be taken anywhere off-road by the people who are actually going to go buy a Nissan Ariya.
But you can get it in all-wheel drive.
Yeah, I don't think front-wheel drive is a disadvantage necessarily. I think that's an American conceit, that rear-wheel drive is better, is cooler, and I get in some cases it is, but
yeah,
a lot of great front-wheel drive cars out there.
There are.
Yeah,
but there's no
I'd rather
advantage
have
to doing
front-wheel
it
drive.
now that it's 50-50 weight balance, no weight over the front axle, so it's like, But yeah, it doesn't hurt it either. If it's 50-50, then it's like, these wheels do everything, they'll just follow.
There you go. Well, for our next story, Tony Schaefer is going to extol the virtues of the car dealer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you guys remember, and I know we've talked about it. Why Tesla has been so reluctant to sell directly to consumers in some states? It's because they recognize that the automobile dealers protect consumers from manufacturers selling directly to the auto buyers. That lame and absolute out-of-your-ass explanation was provided by the Automobile Dealer Lobby Association.
Yeah, the
whatever the hell
National
it's called.
Dealership Association.
Yep.
Yeah, the National Dealership. So thank you.
They made a nice cartoon about it, too.
Their argument as to why they should not allow Tesla to sell directly to consumers is that it's the dealer's job to protect the consumer from the manufacturer. So now that it has been announced that the Toyota RAV4 Prime is only going to sell 5,000 units in the United States, the dealerships who know they're going to be getting the Primes see an opportunity to gouge the consumers. I'm not sure what part of this falls under protecting them, but according to some of the online sources, some of them are as low as $2,000 over MSRP, some of them as high as $10,300 over MSRP.
They're trying to protect you from having a surplus of money.
Yeah.
Yes, that's clearly it. Yes. Of course, this isn't the first time we've seen dealers, gouge consumers and mark up popular vehicles, but this doesn't help anyone other than the dealerships. It's stupid, it's asinine. There's not much more to add to this. They can try and justify it by saying, well, you're going to get $7,500 back from the government, so it's really not that big of a markup. But that ruins the entire incentive. Basically, they're stealing the tax incentive from the consumer to put it in their own pockets. Dealerships suck.
So
How do you stop this, Tony? How would you stop this?
I would directly sell to the market and eliminate dealerships altogether.
But you're not allowed to by law.
Right.
I
So
would buy more lobbyists.
So the consumers need to make sure that they're only going to dealerships where they're paying MSRP and not a penny more.
good luck.
At most, right.
Mark brought up the question that's been just bouncing around in my head. thinking about the Mach-E markups and now the RAV4 Prime markups. We've seen this before with other cars. Dealers, if there's a market, they're going to jack it up, because why sell it to somebody who's going to flip it immediately? Drive 2 miles away and then go, okay, here, you can buy this, and let that sucker make the money.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but the sad part is the consumer's the one that gets the elbow in the face.
I would say the only way to combat that would be that the consumer, as Patrick said, just don't buy it.
Yeah,
If you are someone that needs to have the newest toy and you're willing to spend 10 grand over MSRP, then you go ahead. You deserve it. Okay.
Yeah, but as Tony
Yes.
said, 2,000 to 10,000. So you got to hope that you find a 2,000.
Sure.
There were no
You know
selling
what?
for MSRP. No.
They can go ahead and do that, but I would say as the rest of us, we should look at that, know the MSRP, and say not paying a cent over it. You know what? Go find somebody else to buy it, because I'm not going to. And that's the only way to start to put a stop to this. Maybe it won't, but at least the dealers would understand that there is a vocal group that will not buy them. It's ridiculous.
Sadly, they only need one or two.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
So
I mean-
down in Charleston right now, in the club, we've got a couple of folks who are due for their tax bills, and of course the state has erred in their own favor on the values of these Tesla. And the procedure is you have to go to a dealership and get a purchase figure. You can't get a trade-in figure, which is all the dealerships give you. And what I tried to do was I tried to get a dealership that I already had a relationship with to give me a figure, and that part was good. But then I took it back to Charleston, and they're like, yeah, no, it has to be a local dealer. This was in-state. This was completely, they paid their dues. They are licensed to sell anywhere in South Carolina. And the treasurer, the assessor had wanted nothing to do with it. And so then, the guy's like, all right, I'm going to go down to CarMax. And she's like, she had read his mind before he said it. She said, yeah, don't go to CarMax, because they don't give you the right type. And then if you get it from the manufacturer is not authorized to sell cars in the state. So the dealerships are protecting the customers there.
Yeah, and let's be clear, the customers, the owners, Tesla owners, did the same thing with the Model 3 when it came out. The early people that got them jacked up the price and tried to flip them and make 2, 5, 10 grand really quick. There was lots
Have
of
you guys heard stories about people who stand in line for 24 hours to buy the very first iPhone, and then they turn around and they sell it online for $100, $200 more because it's the very first one? Do you know how much Apple gouges the price of their iPhones just to keep people from doing that?
Yep.
They don't. Nothing.
Exactly.
They don't care.
Exactly.
They just sell them. Direct to consumer, that's what needs to happen. And these dealerships just need to go away. I don't know why. And, we've had conversations with manufacturers, and I know Russell and I have had very serious and pointed conversations with manufacturers, and we've said, why do you have these dealerships doing these terrible, awful things? And they say, well, we kind of have to have them. It's kind of the law, blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you punish those dealerships who are treating your consumers? And like Russell said, they can't. They're like, their hands are tied.
I mean, those conversations that Tony alludes to have taken place, and there isn't a manufacturer that I've ever talked to that wouldn't love to off their dealer network and do what Apple did, which is kill their reseller network and sell direct, because then they get all that money themselves. That said, there are risks that come with that, and Tesla has been fighting that for years now, because nobody buys their cars until a consumer buys their cars.
Yep.
Toyota sells those cars. Those cars are sold before they come off the boat.
Yeah.
And it's a love-hate relationship. They love the idea that money's in the bank before the car gets delivered to the dealership, but they got to put up with the bullshit that the dealers do.
Yeah, I was glad to see that Rivian is going the direct sales route, because it looked for a while like they were going to go with dealer network.
We'll see.
It'd be nice if they could make some hybrid system where the dealerships turn into delivery centers and service centers, and you're buying it direct, They're the ones that are delivering it. They get some, $1,200, $1,000 delivery fee, but that's it. They don't set pricing. They aren't involved at all. And then they make most of their money off service anyway. So if they get, a guaranteed delivery amount, and that would be a whole lot better than what we have now.
We'd have to fix the laws first, because remember when Tesla came out, they solidified a lot of the laws to say what they wanted it to say rather than what it did say.
Very true.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's go to our next story. Georgia has some talk about Southern California Edison. Or yet
Well,
another SCE.
that's the only SCE we're talking about at this
Thank
point.
God. Okay.
But it's actually good news. For once, I'm bringing you good news. Southern California Edison is laying out some major bank for the Charge Ready Transport program. We're talking $356 million in investment, trying to put in at least 870 commercial charging stations over the next 5 years, where they hopefully will be charging over 8,000 public transport vehicles. This is an attempt to revamp pretty much every single fleet that's used in local government possible. So things like buses and trucks and all of that. This is a great idea designed to fuel, this is a major step forward to take pollution causing large transport vehicles off the road, get them out of the way, and replace them with good electric vehicles. And it's definitely something I think we can all be happy about. And hopefully it's a model for lots of other municipalities to say, hey, we like that, let's do what they just did. Where it comes out from, What Drives Us does not endorse any candidate, by the way. We're not doing that.
Oh,
This is supposedly tied into the Biden-Sanders Unity Task Force climate change plan, which, let me go check my stats, is designed to get us to net zero emissions by 2030, carbon-free power production by 2035, and accelerated adoption of zero-emission vehicles. Also, kind of a super good idea if we'd like to live reasonably well on this planet for the next 100 years. But some of us don't, and I respect your choice. So that's what's happening. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. I have to say, though, the one thing that I think we're going to have to go forward with on public transportation vehicles from here on in, how do we deal with coronavirus and COVID-19 as we progress as a society? Because something tells me it's not going to go away just because it's summer and then we won't deal with it again. And it could also spring back up even if we finally get it to die down. And I have not yet seen anybody addressing what do we do about social distancing on buses and maintaining transportation plans, especially to all those neighborhoods where our essential workers live. So, but good news anyway, 356 million, 870 commercial charging stations, over 8,000 commercial vehicles. All for it. Let's have more of that.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
impressive. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that one of the commenters on the article said, why not also do school buses with vehicle to grid, because they don't work at night and they sit idle for 150 days a year.
Well, they are trying to replace school buses, and I think that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they pointed out here Dominion is doing that.
Oh, and Dominion, well, it's South Carolina. They're doing something, and that's good.
They're doing something.
It could be
So, I mean,
worse.
one of the things with this infrastructure work, one of the biggest things to compare it to, the Biden-Sanders, is there a name for it? Just climate plan?
It's
That's
clean
rather
energy. Clean energy.
clean energy industry or Biden. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, the one thing that I keep comparing it to, at least mentally, if nothing else, is the interstate system. Coming out of the Depression, we put people to work. making interstates, building up the infrastructure, making the United States better and stronger through hiring people to build these things. So people got jobs. You know, the money was liquid throughout the economy. You know, so the people had jobs, they were getting a paycheck, they were using that paycheck to go to their local restaurants, to go to the local stores. The money was circulating. And at the end of the day, the United States got this really cool interstate system along with other enhanced infrastructures. The same thing's going to happen here. The transition from fossil fuels to clean energy, we already see it's driving thousands of green tech jobs. These people are working, and it's not a, you know, ebb and flow. Who's getting the, you know, the oil subsidies this time? This is constant green energy work. As we ramp that up, you're only going to see it getting bigger and bigger, and more people getting, you know, being put to work in green tech. And at the end of the day, what happens? We have all these people getting paid, and the United States gets a really cool infrastructure that is more sustainable than what we're using right now. And guess what? Our students don't have to breathe diesel on their way to and from school every day.
I used to
I'm
hate
looking
that.
forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, you're not pumping the neighborhood with it for the rest of the society.
Right.
There's
Right.
that.
Well, it's convincing people that the investment is worth it, because a lot of people, if it's not directly benefiting them, and I make no judgment, why should they have to pay their taxes? Now, the problem is that we've kind of stepped away as a country from the holistic concept that what affects one neighborhood in America affects all neighborhoods in America, and it is of benefit. So one of the things I've always said about progressive or democratic messaging is they appeal to the altruistic side of humanity. We all want to save the burrowing owls. Well, no, we have a lot of people who couldn't give a flying fuck about the burrowing owls. They don't care about their neighbor down the block, and they don't care about some guy on the other side of the planet. They don't care. They want their cheap shit, they want their stuff, and they want to be protected, and they want it all for themselves. So you kind of have to start talking about the selfish nature of self-preservation and frame things as a personal benefit to you. So stop talking about saving the burrowing owls. Stop talking about workers' rights in China. They don't care. They've already made it pretty clear they don't give a flying you know what. But if you make it so we understand that, hey, it enhances stability here at home, it improves the environment here at home, it means that you make an initial investment, just like when you bought your house, you spend a whole lot of money to have a damned house, and then you improve the kitchen, and God, that cost so much and took so much time, but at the end of the day, it improved the overall value of your house, and you got to be the big man of the neighborhood or big woman of the neighborhood. Frame it like that, and you're probably going to see more of the people who just do this about everything sustainable actually go, okay, I can be on board about that.
That's the part I never really understood is that doing the green thing is almost always more profitable, or at least less costly.
And that's the thing, we need to frame it like we're all dicks. That's the problem. We keep framing it like we're all angels. No, we got at least a good 30 to 50% dicks in this environment. Please talk to them like they're major assholes and make it appealing for assholes.
Right. And, you know, you're exactly right, George. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And this is why the mini car shows and Green Drive Expo and to go before, and, you know, all the times I've had the opportunity to talk to the public, I get a check for that, right, Russell? Yeah. Okay. So I've always come at the green tech argument from multiple facets, and depending on who I'm talking to, it's either the save the rainforest argument or it's the energy independence argument. So I'm either talking to people about save the environment's great, love Mother Nature, or I'm talking to someone who only cares about themselves, and I'm talking about importing oil from countries who hate us. I'm talking about sending American troops to go die to protect a pipeline on another part of the world. I'm talking about, being more American and supporting the United States by capturing the sun that falls in the United States, by spinning wheels with the wind that comes across the American plains. You start waving the American flag and talking
They
about
go
energy
nuts.
independence. And yeah, they go nuts, man. They put their MAGA hat on and they're all for it.
Yeah, look, if
Plus,
you
when
want to
you
frame it as pride in American workmanship and solar and ingenuity, it gets me to the same point as, oh, we want to save the planet. I don't care, but just
Yeah,
let's get
yeah,
to the sustainability.
plus
yeah.
when you go self-sustainable, you can either spend that money somewhere else or reduce the taxes.
Mhm.
It's as someone who used to talk to people every day, usually a couple hundred people every day, about solar and try to sell them on solar and batteries, one learns to size up their prospect quickly and find out which side they're on. And Georgia and Tony's points are here are super well made, because you don't want to give the tree hugging, fuzzy warm, save the planet speech to the MAGA hat. The MAGA hat wants to hear about energy independence and screwing the utility and rugged individualism and survivalism. You're doing the same thing. You're selling the same exact product. You're just presenting it in a way that will appeal to the person in front of you. And that is what's missing a lot.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
You go to Southern Appalachias and say, hey, you know what? If we use renewable energy, we don't have to rip the tops off of those mountains. You don't have to set your tap water on fire. We could bring you clean energy.
Grandpappy worked in those mines, okay?
All right, all right. That's my heritage.
It's tough. It's, you know what, how to market it isn't always easy, isn't always obvious, but a lot of times it is. We just screw it up because we're lazy and
Oh,
the way it is.
we like to think reasoning, on the left especially. We think reasoning. Everybody's got this reasoning and empathetic character. We just got to touch their hearts. Bitch, they don't got no hearts. Just talk about
Yeah.
Look, I am the softest freaking touch in the world. I see an animal, yes, here's my dollar, here's my dime, here's everything I got. Go on ahead. Take me. But I have learned after many long years of watching the futility on all sides of all the issues, and I've just been like, they're completely speaking a different language. If you wish to communicate, you must learn their language. Because I hate to tell you this, they've learned the language of the left and they've applied it to how they name their bills, how they couch everything that they want to do, and it'll be completely the polar opposite of whatever they say it is in actual result, but they know how to couch those terms. So the right and the big utilities speak the language of save the planet and green and sustainable and independence, and they understand how to communicate that and package that. People on the sustainability side, all of the other side, all that on the left side and the Democratic side are always busy talking about hearts and flowers. They don't want no fucking flowers. They want their money, and they want to pretend that they are all alpha males in the bad, incorrect definition of alpha males. We should have just sold them masks by saying, hey, you want to look like Bane, who is super cool, right? Guns. Put on a mask. That would have worked. Probably done a great job. Same thing with sustainability. Let's talk about, just be angry male with a angry masculine energy with a mask, and probably would have helped. We need to do the same thing with sustainability. We hit them with what appeals to them, and I think this program and the investment is a great way to get people started thinking and working on that.
Yeah, like the Florida Protect the Sunshine Act that really made it illegal to use solar panels. Thankfully that thing failed.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on to our next story. Casey, and you know what? I'm going to brief digression here. Casey's going to talk about a brand new BMW, and just today I posted my trip to the BMW Performance Center West out here in California. So if you want to see me badly driving a race car, if you want to see BMW's professional racing school, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Casey Green.
You can see some squealing tires.
I squealed some tires, yes.
You did. So we're looking at a new BMW crossover electric car. And it doesn't have bicycle tires.
Oh.
Yeah, like the i3. So this is called the iX3. So it's actually the exact same car as the new BMW X3, except they ripped out all the combustion guts and put in all the stuff you need to battery operate it, which is an interesting strategy.
I was really hoping for the skinny tires, so there'd be more skinny tires on the market for the i3s.
It'll be more successful than the i3, I believe, but it's so far we haven't seen one conversion car that really takes the market by fire. And there's a chance here because the BMW is a status car and they
Oh
drive.
no, I mean it's just so boring and ugly. Sorry.
The conversion cars, when they're not purpose-built to be electric, they don't tend to get that great of range. The extra weight means they usually don't handle very well. I hope that this time it's better, but yeah, like you said, the conversions just don't have a good history.
Yeah, but so the person who wrote this article over at Inside EVs was lamenting. It's like, why didn't you put it on an economy car? Why didn't you put it on the luxury car? Why did you do this thing in the middle? And he pointed out that you'll have to look really closely to see anything different between it and the gas car unless you hear them go by you. Go ahead, Russell.
No, I know the answers to these questions.
Tell us.
Because at the BMW Performance Centers, one of the cars I drove was the X3. So the deal with the X3 is it has the lowest ground clearance. The other ones have higher ground clearance. In fact, they're actually made for some kind of off-roading.
Off-road.
The X3, no, it's not made for off-roading. The X3 actually handles surprisingly well for that SUV form factor. Now, add in a battery pack slapped in the base, that thing probably handles really, really well. I think the rest of the points about not, being a gas car, not being designed as an EV, there's a lot of inefficiencies there that could be improved upon probably.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily, at least in this specific case, a horrible choice. We'll have to see.
So they picked the tall car rather than an SUV, a real SUV. That's a good idea. Because
everybody wants that form factor.
Well, you look at Ford and GM; they canceled all their cars.
Yeah.
So the tall car is all that this country wants. So it wasn't a bad choice. And like you said, if it started to get the ground clearance and it wasn't built to go off road, not a bad base to pick from if you're not going to go clean slate.
Absolutely.
But,
so
I
was going to say the Inside EVs article, I don't see a price.
I didn't see a price either.
It's free.
So
It's free.
yeah. So I went to BMW
if you
USA.
have to ask, you can't afford it.
Yeah, and it does say that it's free. You just have to swing by and pick it up. That's it.
That's a
So,
next
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah. You're paying too much, my friend. That's gouging. The BMW X3 on BMWUSA.com, the electrified version, starts at $48,550.
That's not terrible for a BMW.
That's really not. As far as I know, they still qualify for 7,500, right?
They do.
And then you go to, either like Colorado or Oregon, and they give you even more money on top of that. So you make a profit, I think, buying this car.
But the other good thing about a car that blends in, except for in this case that it's a BMW, is that nobody's going to single you out for it being an electric car and key you and all that other stuff. But it's a BMW, so you're still going to get keyed by those same jerks.
I do like the idea, and we've talked about this before. I honestly like the idea of an electrified vehicle blending in.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes all the way back to the Gen 2 Prius that was just so Prius that everyone knew it was a Prius, and it's like, oh, look at me, I'm driving an electric car. And it seemed that every car after that had either it was the styling or the coloring or the big badge that said plug in or the whatever. We have to get past that point. And, we were saying, it's not everyone wants to drive, when they drive an electric vehicle, they don't want to scream electric vehicle. Some people want to drive an electric vehicle because it's financially responsible, because the maintenance is lower, the long-term cost of ownership is lower, but they're still big macho men and they don't want to be seen driving an electric car. So they want something that's going to blend in, and this would be a perfect car for that.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about the initial Model S. Was you couldn't tell it apart. It didn't look like the Volt. It didn't look like the Leaf, especially the first gen Leaf, where it screamed, "Hey, look at me, look at me!" I mean, it was just a
Exactly.
stately, like a Jaguar. It was looked nice, and it was regal. It was quiet and
Mhm.
did its thing. And I'm glad they got rid of the grill, but I mean, it still looks like that. It's just, if you didn't already know what you were looking at, it's not, other than the Roadsters and the Cybertruck. It's
So
not
do you
screaming,
think
"Look at me!"
this is going to
Mhm.
appeal to people that they want a stealth electric car?
Absolutely. But
Oh,
some
yeah.
people don't want the car. Again, those MAGA folks, not to pick on a group and paint with a broad brush, but I mean, they may want an electric car and want the advantages that it brings, but they don't want their neighbors to think they're one of those, tree
Tree
hugger
hugging dirty
guys.
hippie communes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to put some other thing in there, but I decided that was not good judgment on my part. So, yeah, just it's. Not manly enough.
Hmm.
This just looks like a BMW.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Well, Tony has a story about a different electric car.
The same region of the world.
Yeah. So I was flipping through and wired.co.uk had a review about the Polestar 2. And what's interesting is, we had talked about the Polestar 1. And for those of you not up, the Polestar is Volvo's electric, I don't know, branch, wing, name,
Performance.
badge, whatever you want to call it. It's part of Volvo. So this is an article written by Jeremy White, again at Wired, the UK version. And he absolutely loves the Polestar 2. Now, it's not all glowing. He does point out a few things where they're lacking, but he makes it a point to compare it to the Tesla Model 3. And we have to accept that Tesla is, for all sakes and purposes, let's just say king of the hill. So if you're going to compare a car, it's going to get compared to a Tesla. And he makes the argument that there are many ways in which Volvo's design and manufacturing make the Polestar 2 better than the Model 3. But then he does go into a couple of places where he's like, well, the range isn't as great and it starts off a little more expensive. But otherwise, he really liked the styling. The infotainment center is completely from Google, so it's not an in-house thing. It's it's not Toyota has Intune and Ford has Sync and I don't know what else other things have. It's not an afterthought. It was built entirely for the car. He makes a statement, and I can't find it here, but basically he says that the Polestar is what an electric vehicle has always meant to be. And that's a pretty bold statement. I don't know. Did you guys have an opportunity to read through the entire review?
Is he the one who didn't want to give it back at the end of his trial?
I'm not sure. I don't think he said that.
Okay. Well, he might not have said it in the article. I think if he's the one I'm thinking of, he said it on Twitter.
I've heard
Yeah.
nothing but good things. I have not
Mhm.
driven them, but I know lots of people whose opinions I respect who've said nothing but good things about the Polestars. I
And they
mean,
look good,
really,
too.
really good things.
Are they only in Europe?
At the
Could
moment.
be for now, yeah. I mean, keep in mind, so Geely, right, the Chinese car company bought Volvo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the good thing that they did was that they let Volvo be Volvo for the most part.
Yeah.
And Volvo's kind of gone off in a little bit different direction. It used to be the safety company. Now they're the luxury company. And the Polestars are really well designed, built, wonderful cars.
They're going to build these in South Carolina, right?
I'm sorry?
They're going to build these in South Carolina, right? Thought so.
That was
That I
not
don't
part
know.
of the article. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are they?
Looking at
Not
it now.
see that in the article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
quick quiz
one
for
thing-
everybody. Oh, no.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing that I found interesting is looking through the pictures here on, again, this is Wired UK. Either at least one of the pictures is backwards, or they show a left hand and a right hand version. I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that.
I didn't.
But
I did.
I
Yeah,
honestly
then-
think it's a left hand and a right hand, because if it was reversed, then the infotainment center would be reading backwards.
Yep.
So that is interesting that this one article
Oh.
shows.
Yeah, you're
both.
right. Wow.
They're making it for the Chinese market as well. So I think they're left-hand drive.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
There you go. That explains that, right? European-ish car company making a car for
Mhm.
both markets would need both.
And like you said, since Geely owns Volvo, it makes sense, and Polestar, it owns both, that they would make it for the Chinese market as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this article says, not this one that we're reading, but a different one, says that they are going to be making the Polestar in South Carolina.
Oh,
All right.
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great. Look at that.
You're right,
Energy
the features are-
independence, car independence. Yep.
So definitely left-hand drive for sure. Looking right at it.
It would be
Yeah.
great if they fixed the Google Assistant UX, because I noted all the trouble he seemed to be having with that.
hmm
And I fully admit that there should be like a tattoo on the back of my neck that just says Google, just considering how much of their stuff I use and how many pieces of equipment I own of theirs. And definitely, especially considering the autonomous driving part and the fact that it's used to do some of the controls, I'm a little disturbed that it doesn't understand what it's saying. It does random things according to him. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But I like what I'm hearing about all the other data that you can get from it.
I wonder if
Yeah,
he's got the
and
same
he-
problem I have when you're in motion. The microphones for the Bluetooth and everything, they just don't hear me.
Yeah, and he does talk about the over-the-air updates and the continuous improvements. I mean, we can look at how good Tesla is right now, and the games that they've added and the different things, and but we know that has been incremental update after update after update after update. So to compare a new vehicle coming out to where Tesla is now is really not very fair. You're comparing, senior level algebra to someone who's just learning mathematics. So
Right,
they'll
but you do want to
there.
get that voice stuff right. If you get to an autonomous car and you say, "Take me to Taco Bell," and it says, "Okay, driving to Lake Tahoe." No.
Right. Yeah.
Don't do
Well, that's actually, I remember that was a Gen 2 Prius joke. Was you could say, take me to Taco Bell, and it would say setting temperature to 74 degrees. And you're like, what?
I do remember voicing that on that thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of software.
Speaking of software, Casey's got our final story of the night.
So Volkswagen's top software guy has been dropped. He is no longer with the company.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ooh.
But,
Was he
I mean,
working on the ID3?
Yes.
Because
That's
there's
probably,
been
that's
that.
probably what did him in.
There's that has been a real problem for Volkswagen up to this point.
Yes. And
Yeah, they just announced they're going to make a huge investment into their software. They're going to change how the whole thing is done. Instead of having software be a sub-project to some car that then ends when that car is done, they're now going to have an ongoing, continuous software development system where that team is continually staffed, and instead of the hodgepodge way they've been doing it. So this is the wake-up call they needed by having this huge failure to allow them to step back and hopefully redesign it in a way that works a lot better going forward.
And a couple of weeks ago, they had said that they wanted to be more like Tesla with their software, and having a team that does software and just putting the software into the existing cars is exactly the way it's done over there. So that's a smart move, and they'll save them a lot of money, and it'll make the consumers happier. And hopefully, you don't have to go to your dealer to get the update.
Right.
Park in your garage, park near the house, Wi-Fi it, cellular, whatever. Like the Mach-E.
It would be great to have the same software running across, like all Volkswagen vehicles. I mean, that would be pretty cool. You just go from one car to another and you have the same interface and everything.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if you had a profile that could even follow you for seat settings and mirrors and other stuff.
Oh, cool.
Store it
Yeah.
in the cloud. How much space would it take up? Like a kilobyte, 10
Right.
kilobytes?
Or Bluetooth with your phone. You know
Yeah.
what? You carry it with you.
Software
Yeah, that
is
way it's
hard.
local. Software is very hard.
People don't realize that.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Software is
soft.
hard for
It's not very
companies that
hard.
don't build software.
Yeah.
It's harder for companies that do build software, let alone ones that don't.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Windows would like a word.
Yeah. Let's talk about Apple Core apps, and I'll tell you how hard software is, okay? How their crappy mail app.
Why doesn't my iPad have a calculator?
Oh, God.
Well, I just have a few concerns with the new guy they're putting into that position because
Enlighten
I
us.
don't feel the commitment coming from him for electrical vehicles.
Yeah.
That's not good comments. Just saying.
I mean, that's what happens when one person gets to steer a company.
That's true. Into a ditch.
I mean, in some cases, it's brilliant visionary direction,
Yeah.
direction.
No, it's usually underlings making the impossible happen. This looks ditchy.
Mhm.
I'm definitely not pushing one thing or the other, that like a committee should run every company. That's another nightmare.
Mm-mm.
But there are drawbacks to CEOs changing, to executives, to C-suite people having the power to make these decisions and then leaving or getting fired or being crooked. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult.
They make the decisions, they take their bonus, and after 3 years, they move on because that's their progression plan. Not that I've ever seen that happen, but I can identify it 100 miles away.
I'm ready
Yeah.
to be promoted above my skill set and take your bonus money and get
Yeah.
CEO package. So if you would like an incompetent CEO to handle shit that they don't know anything about, why not me at this point?
Why not?
There you go.
Mhm.
Send your email to
I hope that's not
Quick
your
access.
I hope it's not your intro paragraph on your resume, Georgia. Why not me?
Maybe. Hey, I've done normal and straight. I should actually go with that.
isn't that Trump's campaign slogan? Is like, why not me, or what could be worse,
Something
or
like that.
something?
Oh no, it was the message to us African Americans. What do you
What we got
have
to lose?
to lose?
What do you
And
have
we
to
looked at
lose?
Yeah.
him
Thank you.
and we said a lot. No, thank you.
Mhm.
Sadly, we are a minority.
I think he meant, what do you have left?
Yeah.
Now
We've
that's
already
the new
taken it all.
message. It's going to be, what do you have left?
What you missed, George, is that he was actually asking a question. What do you have to lose? Because he was taking inventory of stuff to steal from you.
We
Okay.
took him at his word.
He just wanted a comprehensive inventory. He goes, oh, cool. Get her next.
Oh, look.
Anyway, we got to wrap this up. Let's do some shout outs and go home. Thanks, everybody. Really good news night. Patrick.
I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and we're on Facebook and Twitter. And you can also find my occasional writings at carswithcords.net. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Mr. Coughlin, just because you're next to him on my screen.
See over there?
It rearranges all that, but I can see everybody now at the same time. I'm just so glad for that.
I would like to ask you, the viewer, if you have not already, please give us a thumbs up on the video. That helps us. Also subscribe. That even helps us more. Do both. It is free. It doesn't cost you anything. Please help out the show with supporting it in that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgia McKenzie.
Just going to give a shout out to everybody out there doing what they got to do and making it work in this crazy world we are in 2020. Hang in there. We're halfway through this. And again, please like, subscribe, and watch. Share with everybody. Let us all know.
What do you got to lose? Oh, wait, no, that's... Sorry.
Shut up.
Oh, boy.
Shut up, Russell. Casey Green, I'm going to shut up now.
So recently, I traveled all over the Mid-Atlantic region for you guys. Take a look at my YouTube channel at youtube.com/KACEYGREEN. That's Casey Green. I did finished up some Tesla software update stuff, but this one was on some new Tesla V3 superchargers, and they're in unique locations. Check them out.
Absolutely. And where did we
All right.
find him, Casey?
youtube.com/Casey Green.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tony Schaefer. Bring us home, baby.
Yeah, shout out to all of our subscribers, listeners, viewers. We do this for you. We sure as hell don't do it for ourselves. That's for sure. Yeah, and you know what? If you want to read all the news we're reading, check us out online. Look for us on Facebook, facebook.com/whatdrivesus. Leave us comments, suggest news items, just like the page, whatever. And if you do use Flipboard as a news aggregator, be sure to subscribe. Look for the What Drives Us magazine and subscribe to the What Drives Us magazine there. Also, if you are, if you're listening to this as an audio podcast, I don't know where you got it, but we are on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, TuneIn, iTunes. Subscribe to all of them. What do you have to lose? I think that should be the show title.
What do you have to lose?
What do you have to lose? Yes.
We'll get sued.
Yep.
Oh, just kidding.
He might.
Again. Yep.
So thank you, Tony. As always, we thank Michael Mannering for our amazing theme music. Even though I forgot to play it at the top of the show, I'm going to play it at the end of the show because that's the kind of guy
if
that
there's
I
an
am.
audio issue or forgot to.
No. I'm going to own that one. I screwed that pooch hard in front of everyone. So my apologies. Visit him at manthing.com. As everyone has suggested, go to YouTube. Please subscribe. Huge help to us. You can also go to patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow. That's patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow. You can support us there for as little as $1 a month, less than 25 cents per show. We got to split that. Okay. 25 cents per show split 6 ways. You do the math. It ain't pretty, folks. It ain't pretty. So do go there if you want and support us with your cash money, or just go to YouTube and subscribe. I want to thank Patrick Connor, who had to bail out early. Mark Coughlin. Mark Coughlin? Is that your last name? Coughlin.
That's
Yes.
my last name.
Georgia McKenzie, Casey Green, and Tony Schaefer for an excellent show. As always, man, every bit of technology is fighting me today. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching or listening. You're the reason we do this show. Please tune in next week and find out what drives us. What drives us?
Electric motors.
See you next week, everybody.
Adieu.
Yep.
Yes.